Hello, 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 Virgos. Welcome, welcome. How are you guys doing today? For those of you brand new, welcome to Divine Warrior Intuitive. I am here to do your intuitive tarot along with astrology and numerology. I'm Pat, I'm an empath, and a lot of abilities in intuition, as well as some clairvoyant knowledge whenever it wants to come through. But definitely the divine and I are truly connected. So I take all his wisdom. I say his own energy. So this is something that I base my tarot on. So I hope you enjoy this and it resonates with you. If it doesn't, and whoever comes to mind, this is probably something you're supposed to share with them, or maybe mention, hey, I heard this, and bring that to them. All right, so let's get started. This is going to be for the week of the 17th through the 23rd. So we don't have anything going on. However, there is a Mercury retrograde getting ready to happen. So when that happens with Mercury, is it Mercury? Yeah, Mercury is retrograding. Is it Mercury or is it Mars? Either way, doesn't matter, because when it happens, it slows the planet down. I believe it's Mercury. Let me double check my notes here real quick, because it's really important, because what's happening, we've got an eclipse coming. Yeah, on the 29th, Mercury goes into retrograde. So what that means is that planet slows down and creates a little bit of a kerfuffle, because as it slows down, planets slow down, they become more powerful. So this is something that's already happening. And so you might get a little bit of tension through the month, a little bit on uncertainty, maybe a little bit emotional, especially Virgos. But also too, you might be feeling feelings you're just not quite sure what's going on. That's part of the Mercury retrograde coming up. Also the new moon shifting into that energy, going into the full moon, getting ready for that during that same time. And we have an eclipse. So this is going to be a really big energy month, huge energy month. So if you're feeling those kind of things right now, don't be surprised. It's just part of the process. And that's why I think it's really important to mix the divine, number one, divine, most of all divine, and our planets, and our numerology has been around for thousands and thousands of years. However, I think it's just more important to pay attention to divine and the planets, because you know what? The energies for the planets and divine are pretty much the same. You'd be surprised if you watch astrology and you know the divine and how he works, then definitely be the same. So anyway, so the current first card out is a first oracle, is the divines. It is the moonlight. Now, the moonlight is also about the number 6. Number 6 is about your harmony improvement. Here's the thing about the moonlight. The moonlight is about your intuition and not paying attention to it or doubting it or say, you know what, that's just coincidence, that kind of a thing. And the divine's saying, no, 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 no. Please, this is my telephone to you guys. Pay attention to it. This is how I actually get you to listen to what I'm trying to guide you in, protect you in, or do whatever. So don't doubt your intuition. Really just sort of listen to it and go with it and see what happens, okay? Because this, again, is about your harmony and improvement. And the more you become in balance with spirit, mind, and body, you will be surprised at how that changes and transforms your life. Okay, so the current energy here is, and this is the 17th to the 23rd, because somebody's going to have something coming up this week that they're going to have to make a decision about. And they're going to have to acknowledge that maybe their intuition is right. Okay, this is hard for Virgos because we want to analyze everything. We want to look at everything and see. However, it's much more easier to go with the flow of what your intuition is saying. As soon as you begin to let go and release, then you'll be able to make a better decision. This is what this is about. However, if you fight your intuition and you just sort of go against it, then you may be coming back to more cycles again, over and over and over again. Because as the making your choice, the current energy card, it says making your choice, you have free will. So that free will is to believe and have trust and have faith that the divine is giving you the intuition to say, hey, yes, do this. No, don't do this. Yes, go with them. Don't go with them. Yes, they're good for you or they're not good for you. So these are the things that the divine is saying. Pay attention to your intuition. The sacred pool is your future energy. This is going to be for, we're halfway through the month, so this is going to be for June and July as well. This is about the dots to dots that are connecting for whatever it is that you're working on. So if you're in a relationship and you want it to grow, these are the dot to dots, like talking on the phone, then meeting and going on a date. And then when maybe somebody else comes in and sort of like, oh yeah, I like that lady too, or I like that guy too. These are dots that the divine is connecting, whether it be in a relationship, your work, travel, whatever you want to do, your purpose. These are the dots to dots that you need to be paying attention to. The dots to dots in this future energy is called destiny. This is what it is. Destiny is the connections, the things that come into place, the resources basically that come into place to get you to where you want to go. So if this is a person that you love and you want to marry them, it's sort of the things that are happening, the little steps that are happening to get to that point of marriage. If it is a job, these are the points you got to go through. The resume, you got to go through the first interview, you got to go through the second interview. These are the dots that I'm talking about, but you cannot if you distrust and do not have faith in the process of the unseen to bring you to your place where you're supposed to be, you're going to miss the boat. So again, the moonlight divine is all about your harmony and improvement, and improving that you don't doubt yourself. Do not doubt yourself, especially if it begins to feel good. And I don't mean feelings, but you have that inner fire that says, yes, this is the way I'm supposed to go. Feelings and emotions are going to get us in trouble because that's earthbound kind of energies. And that is something that we sometimes just don't control, because our flesh is sometimes stronger than what we allow our spirit to be. Get us into trouble sometimes. Yes. Hey, Star, welcome. So that's one thing this week, through the 10th through the 17th through the 23rd, really acknowledge somebody's going to have make a choice, and somebody's going to make a poor choice because they weren't listening to their intuition, and somebody's going to make a really good choice. They're going to be happy with what they've decided in, and it's going to feel really, really good because you're going to say, yeah, I made the right choice. I'm on the right path. So the other person's going to be frustrated, sort of earthbound, just like, why did I do this? Because you weren't paying attention to your intuition. The telephone to the divine. I should have a little telephone and a string hanging and just pull it down and say, hello. That's my intuition. But that's sort of what our intuition is. That's one of the gifts and abilities every single person on this earth and animal kingdom has, because they know fight or flight. Their intuition says something is coming that is bad, or it's going to eat me, so I'm going to flight. So this is something inner built that you can't explain. It just is. All right. So let's see what kind of decision somebody's going to have to make out of a choice. It's interesting that this came up because in my prayer and meditation this morning, I was asking, my daughter is gone to Oklahoma, and I was asking him, okay, this is really hard. This is different. I'm back being alone again. What do you want me to do? And what do you want me to focus in on? And he's like, your book. I'm like, really? Seriously? Because I'm in the middle of writing a second book. And so he gave me a new chapter for the book, calling, well, I don't know what I'll call it, but it is basically, I think what I'll probably call it is hitting your rock bottom and what to do with it and how to come out of it. So my rock bottom, I'll share that in that, and hopefully that'll be helpful to somebody, because let me tell you, I could have went way down into that low vibrational energy when the divine sat me one day and said, here, do you want this? Because this is where you're headed. Or do you want to now listen to me and pay attention to what I've been telling you? And I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then that changed my life completely, 180 degrees. And so I'll be sharing that. I'm not sure if I think I'm even going to do a video on that this week. He's saying do a video. So watch for a new video coming up with that. But it is going to be a chapter in the book that I am writing. And hopefully that'll help somebody get through their rock bottom or a hard time in their life, or how to figure out how to make things better. All right. So first off, we've got the Empress. Woohoo! So the Empress is very much about nurturing. paying attention to your mindset, paying attention to what's going on around you, paying attention to maybe even your body, because somebody might be here, might be pregnant, or getting pregnant. I don't, and that's a possibility. I heard loss also too. God forbid they're having a miscarriage, but I heard a loss. But this thing is this new thing that is coming about. Whatever this choice is going to make a difference in your world. Okay. So it is going to turn it, but it doesn't mean it turns it for the worse. This turns it for the better, through a lesson of learning, or this is through a lesson of abundance. Because as I just did the new moon reading, if you haven't watched that, this is a time of the waxing gibbous. So that means there's abundance coming in. So this could change because we have the Page of Cups and the Ace of Swords next. These are things of maybe a message coming in. This may be the Ace of Swords, something coming to light that is truth. That's something that you wanted. Again, you have to think about this dot to dot. Okay. What is it that somebody's bucking their intuition? They're like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And the reason why is because they don't believe in the unseen. They don't believe in the second dimension. Because if they did, then they'd follow that intuition and they would realize that it's spot on every time. Okay. And people say, well, I did that and my intuition, led me the other way. That's maybe because it wasn't the way you wanted it to go, but it was the way that the divine needed it to go to make something else happen. So people say that all the time to me. Well, I don't believe in that intuition because I tried that and it didn't work. It didn't work because it's not what you wanted per se. Your intuition doesn't work that way. It's not a Santa Claus thing. It's a protection thing. It's a guidance thing. And that's what your intuition is all about. That's why I say I'm highly intuitive, because I pay attention really close. I analyze what that intuition is trying to tell me. Just like if I interpret a dream, what is that dream trying to tell me? Where can I read between the lines? Really paying attention. And then if I'm slightly off, the divine says, nope, that's not what I meant. This is what I meant. And I'm like, okay. So then I follow through with it. But it's really paying attention to your heart and what that intuition is telling you to do, because it can take you the right way or it can take you the wrong way. Just like dream interpretation, it can take you to one way and it can take you to another way. But which is the right way? You have to listen to your intuition. All right. For somebody, this is going to change. Whatever choice you've got coming up this week, really pay attention to it, because this is going to change your future. This is going to change, and also change not even yours. It's going to have a ripple effect to other people. So be mindful when you make that decision. Is it affecting me only, or is it affecting people around me? Because again, whatever this is, it's going to change the trajectory of whatever's going on. So you could do that. I mean, it's sort of, but I feel like this energy is really good because, and you're very curious about it. It's like, ooh, I wonder what would happen if I did this. Ooh. It's sort of that, but there is a truth behind it. It's an offering of, there is a truth behind it. So really be mindful, Virgos, of what it is that you're asking for this week, the divine, because again, this is making a choice. A lot of the times in that intuition, you may have asked for things, and sometimes it's even a couple of things. And then all of a sudden you're getting both those prayers or meditations answered. And you're like, crap, now what do I do with it? Because I didn't expect it both at the same time. Got to be careful what you wish for, because it's not our timing. It's divine timing. All right. So really pay attention to that this week. But this is something that is connecting the dots. Connecting the dots. It's really amazing. Like I tell you the story real quick. I tell you the story about when I was bodybuilding and how I got into nutrition and where all that went. And I was like, okay, I got into bodybuilding. I was overweight. I got into bodybuilding. I lost the weight. I competed. That took me to school into a nutrition and fitness degree. I got the nutrition and I thought, what am I going to do with this? That took me to working in a hospital. That took me to being an author from the book behind me there. It took me to a lot of different things. Again, that is what I'm talking about, the dots connecting. I didn't pay attention while I was going through it, But I did pay attention when these things started happening in sort of a sequence over the years. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this information? And then I'm sitting there in the car one day, you know, not figuring out we'd lost my job to COVID. I'm like, okay, you know, what next, Lord? And he says, go and teach. And I'm like, excuse me? Go and teach what? You know? And I'm like, you want me to go back to nutrition? Go and teach what? And he said it again, go and teach. And I'm like, teach what? So it took me a long process to see those connections. And I'm still wondering, am I teaching the right thing he wants me to teach? But he would say no and stop me if that's not what I'm supposed to be teaching. So it's interesting how the divine works if you follow that intuition that he's giving you. Do not doubt it, because it does bring harmony and it does bring improvement to your higher self. Okay, it brings you to a higher level. All right. Oh, and at the end here, I'm going to do wealth, health, and love and relationships. So just so that I'm going to save time at the end here to do that. Oh, wow. This is confirmation, guys. This is confirmation. So whenever you ask for something, ask for confirmation. So, and that was in I think I did a video here a week or two ago on how to talk to divine and ask the questions. You have to ask for a confirmation, because if you don't ask for a confirmation, you don't know where that information is coming from. You could have those low vibrations interacting or being a distraction, and then you're thinking that they're coming from divine, but it's not. You have to have a confirmation, because it could really throw you in the wrong direction. Okay, and divine will give you a confirmation. Watch that video and it'll tell you how you can get confirmation from divine. All right, because here we go. 2 towers, double tower. This is really, really serious. We've got the Empress, which is a major arcana. We have the Tower, a major arcana together. Okay. And then we have not only that, so we also have the Queen of Cups, which is intuition. This is a confirmation. This is a double confirmation. Pay attention. So I'm going to beat that through the roof today, because somebody's got something really big that they need to decide on. Should I marry him? Should I not marry him? Should I take the job? Should I not to take the job? Should I move? Should I not move? This is where you have to get confirmation. Here's the other thing in the center of that, guys, is that you have to sit and be still to hear the confirmation. So the 4 of Swords is about resting, being quiet, taking it easy, listening really closely. Now you may not hear it like I do, or you get a download like I do, but you're going to get a sign. And that sign may happen once or twice or 3 times, and that is going to be your confirmation. I'll give you an example. I was listening to a speaker that wanted to, for this whole year, use being anchored. What are you anchored in? What's your foundation? Where is your core at? So they want, where are you anchored in? What are you anchored in? Are you anchored in Spirit, Holy Spirit? Are you anchored in? I have to remember to keep saying Holy Spirit, because he said there's too many spirits out there. I am the Holy Spirit. Talk about Holy Spirit, because I didn't think about this over this time, because there are spirits and demonic spirits. And if you believe in all different kinds of low vibrations and spirits, there is a very, very powerful low vibrational spirit. So I've got to remember to say Holy Spirit. So remind me, guys, because I usually say divine or God, but it is Holy Spirit. However, you have to be in quiet to be able to make this decision. So if you have to, find a place. You're really thinking hard about this. I wouldn't say, don't get in your head and think about it, because that's very easy. That's earthly. Then you're going to start making excuses why you don't want to do it or why you should do it. And you're manipulating the answer of what you should be doing. Don't do that to yourself. Let it go. Say, I've got to make a decision. Divine, show me what I need to make the decision in and how to do it. Give me that intuition. Give me that word. Give me that sign. Okay. But that person who did the anchor, all of a sudden he's like, really? Do I really want to use the word anchor as this or not? And the thing was that he needed a sign. I need a sign, because it doesn't sound right. I just, really anchor for a whole year. Well, before you know it, he went someplace, and there right in front of him was a big ship's anchor. And then before you know it, he was in a restaurant drinking some water with his wife, and there's an anchor at the bottom of the cup. These are signs that the divine will do that, because he's never really seen that kind of stuff before. It's something that you don't pay attention to, but the divine will bring it to light. So really pay attention to these signs in this next week, because this is really, really important, whatever this is for somebody. I don't know who this is going to resonate with, but there is definitely an important decision. Now, if you don't have a decision to be made right at this moment, then don't worry about it. It may pop up in the middle of the week. Some things do. You know, we sit there and we don't think about, but the divine can turn something on a dime. He can in immediate say, hey, do you want to go to do you want to go on vacation with me? And I'm like, well, wow, I didn't even think of that. Where'd that come from? And then you have to make a big decision. Do I want to go out on vacation with this person? Do I have the money? Do I have that kind of a thing? And you just say, yeah, I would really like to. I've never been there. I want to go. However, ask the divine, because there might be something underlying that you don't want to get into on that vacation that you don't know about. And because he can see all, he will connect those dots and let you know for sure, yes or no. All right. But you got to be in a quiet place to be able to hear him. All right. All right. Let's see what else is going on here. And then we'll go to the, this is a big one. I don't feel a lot more energies. I feel like somebody is moving though. Sometime in this summer, I feel like somebody's moving. And they're getting scared, like if this was really a good choice that they made. Listen to your intuition. You know, you can always back out if it wasn't. Okay, for somebody, it wasn't a good decision. For somebody else, it just something else needed to end to make this move happen. So did something just happen, you know, all of a sudden and stop? And then to move, free up that time or space or whatever to move? Because something did end. So that definitely, it's interesting because it was ended right after somebody's intuition let them know, hey, this needs to end. Sort of like this morning I had that. It's like, okay, you know what? This isn't working out. This isn't divine driven. So you know what? I've got to end it. So it's hard to do that sometimes, especially when you really are in the middle of something. I'm surprised I didn't see the Eight of Wands. But the thing is that definitely be careful, because this has something to do with somebody's future. I don't know what that is, but it has something to do with somebody's future. Ooh, bunch of cards. These new cards here, guys, are from Africa. I supported a artist that did these, and they're different. They are definitely different, because you got to remember now you got to remember Africa is a continent, guys, not a country. When I studied Africa, a lot of people thought that Africa is a country. No, it's a continent with countries in it. And many of those countries are not, let's say they're more third world, so they don't have the technology like we do. And so these artists do the best they can with what they have given to them. So let's see what else we got here. Okay, we got another Ace of Swords. Got a lot of swords. There's a lot of truth in this. Okay, so there's the Ace of Swords. We got swords, the Five of Swords. So don't fight yourself on this decision. There is a decision that needs to be made. Don't fight yourself on this decision. The King of Cups. This is what you want. This is what somebody's working towards. And you know what? You're binding your own self up. So don't hold yourself up. Don't sabotage your own future, your own self with that. All right. Because you can. Somebody's very good at that. Some Virgo out there is very good at that. You know what? And I used to sabotage everything, because I would find ways to manipulate things to say, see, it didn't turn out, when in reality, it was me in my own head that was doing that. A very manipulative way of doing things, and a very broken way of doing things. So healing has to happen in order to do that, to change your ways, to really change it. But again, we got double towers here, guys. Double towers. This is really something to be serious. If if you do come up against, like I said, this is not going to resonate with everybody, but if you do come against where you have to make a decision, or maybe somebody's coming to you, I really got to make a decision, guide them to the divine, to listen to their intuition. Guide them to pay attention to the dots. Where is it leading you? Is it leading you in an upward level, like with my nutrition and stuff? It led me up to a place where I could teach and help people, or is it leading them down to where it's going to be maybe more destructive? Like some relationships, people on the outside, like, man, they're not good for each other. They're not, people looking outside in can see sometimes better. However, we have to go to the divine first to make sure it's true and what it's supposed to be. All right. I hope that makes sense. I don't know who this is for. Definitely for somebody. And hopefully that person, if they're not watching live, that they will watch when it's recorded, because again, their decision is going to be based on spiritual or earth. And I hope that they do go earth. Wow. Tower 3 times today. 3 times. Hey, Vicky, how you doing? Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so like I said before, I'm doing these readings a little bit differently this month, just for fun, just to turn it up and change it up a little bit. And so the next thing I'm going to do is about wealth. Now, if you haven't watched before and you don't know about this, so on wealth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what your card is for wealth. But remember, wealth isn't always about money. It is what it is to you. Wealth could be maybe you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to do that. And that's your wealth. That is your success. Put it that way. And sometimes that changes through our life. So what it is for wealth for you right now at this moment could be, growing your family up and just seeing the joy in their faces as they grow up, or watch them succeed. What is it for you to succeed? Or what is it that you have that you want for your success and your wealth? So we have the King of Cups. King of Cups is all about your desires. What is it that you desire? I'm older than most of you guys out there. My desire is to slow down and travel. That is my success. That is my wealth. That is what I hope, my bucket list for, kind of a thing. But the thing is, that wasn't way back when. My wealth would have been starting my company, being successful, which I did for a long time. So wealth can change as you change, because nothing ever stays the same. So what is it that your heart is desiring right now for your wealth? Do you even know? Do you even know? If you don't, get it from the intuition that the divine is leading you to. Because the divine will show you. I mean, Virgo, you guys know inside yourselves what it is that you want, what you desire. Shoot for it. Shoot for it. Maybe this is the decision this week that you have to make and really make it happen. All right. But this is going to be a good thing, because this is the king. It is the ultimate of the ultimate. This is to bring you the joy in your wealth and success that you want. So this week, focus in on what this is that you want for your wealth. And write it down and see, because here's the thing, when we speak what we want, then we write it down, then the divine is going to test you. He is going to test you, and he's going to see how serious you are about what you want to succeed in your wealth in. Because if it isn't on the same page, or if he sees that you're not serious, he's going to hold off. Been there, done that. In fact, I was given a test on the way to work one day, and I was like, yeah, I really want this. And I was speaking it, and I wrote it down, and then I was trying to act on it, but then I failed the test, and he's like, you're not ready. And I was like, ugh! So then I'm like, I got to start over again, right? Yes. So I started over again, and I did it differently, and boom, he gave it to me. But it did take about a month or two, because he knew I wanted it. He knew I was ready. It's sort of like these kids these days. They say they want to go to college. They want to do this. They want to do that. But then there's no effort in it. It's like they want to skip the steps of we wanted that as our parents too. So when I saw my mom and she had a house and we had horses and stuff like that, I said, I'm going to get a job and get that right away. Not quite how it happens. However, kids these days want to skip the steps and get what the parents have after decades of working towards that. They just don't see it. Okay. So pay attention to what that is that you want and desires, because this is desires of the heart again. Now we're going to go to health. Somebody is, again, helping somebody with their health. Somebody, whether they're speaking to them or you're speaking or they're speaking to you, telling them to, hey, you know, pay attention to your health. It's really important, whatever is going on, because we are getting it with the planets and everything. We are in the time for a long race. So make sure that your health, share the education with somebody. Say, hey, you know, I noticed you're, in a polite way, in a loving way. You know, I noticed that you've seemed really tired lately. Are you taking vitamins? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you getting enough rest? You have some stress. Do you want to share? Do you want to talk about it? Sometimes having somebody there just to acknowledge that others can see their stress or they're tired is just enough to help to have somebody to listen to and care about. All right. So pay attention to that. This is a time somebody's teaching somebody about either nutrition, exercise, or they're actually learning about it so that they can become more healthy. Good job. Keep doing that. If you need help with that, go on Get Balanced 2020. And since my background's in nutrition and fitness, if you have any questions, just ask. You know, I don't charge for that at all. Okay. Now, we've got the Tower the third time. Okay, so pay attention to this whole reading. And then we've got love and relationships with the Tower. So whatever this decision is happening in your life, we've got the Tower 3 times, guys. There is something going in a relationship that needs to change or is about to change. Now, it needs to happen and make a decision. Excuse me, I had a protein shake. It has to be a decision on your intuition. It has to be a decision in your future on the higher level, joyful. If there's more fighting than there is joy, time to go. If there's more whatever, because sometimes we're in a relationship that we even shouldn't have been in the first place. It wasn't divine intervened. It was actually just we manipulated it together, or it was a flesh decision, that kind of a thing. Pay attention to those dot to dots in this relationship, because there's probably been red flags all the way up. Okay, or the red flags usually are to indicate something that isn't going right, that maybe you should not be with that person, or somebody else could be in fear of this is too good to be true. However, it is true, and that you need to keep going that way. Pay attention to your intuition this week. This Tower does not mean bad. This Tower means that there is change, a transformation, a choice to make. I can't make this stuff up, guys. There is a choice to make. And you have to be sure, because where did it go? And you have to be honest and true to yourself, because this is truth. This is absolute truth. This is divine truth. Don't use your truth. Don't get into the head. Virgos, we get into the head too much. We try to analyze it too much from an earth basis. Let the divine show you. Let the divine show you the signals, what's going on with this love relationship. All right. And then it'll be up to you to move forward in an upward level with it, and a loving level, and a truth level. Everything is in truth, not fear, or we need to release it, let it go, whatever. However, we're in the new moon, and this is about abundance coming to us. So make sure this is something that is coming to you to bring you abundance, joy, lifting up, absolute truth. I'll tell you what, though. Thank you. I appreciate it. So they're reminding me, if you're in a relationship, and if you're in a love relationship, if there is any confusion or you're questioning things all the time, this is not of divine. This is not a divine intervention. If there's anything that you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. You know, he said he was going to the store, but it's been a couple hours and it only should have taken like a half an hour. What's going on? Doesn't make sense, creates confusion. When you're creating a confusion with somebody, then there is not a truth to that. They're hiding something. There's they're doing something that maybe they shouldn't be doing, or maybe they're just not being honest. Honest. It's like, if they're working 2 jobs, they should be honest. I'm going to work, and it's like, okay, but you went to work about 14 hours ago. Well, and they don't tell you that they're working 2 jobs. Be honest. Just be honest. Hey, I needed to take a second job. I didn't realize I was in such financial trouble. It's all about honesty and communication. All right. Pay attention to those things. Really pay attention. A lot to unpack here. A lot to unpack. I could keep going because I keep getting downloads, but I need to stop. Although I do have to say, this is going to bring you guys together, or it's going to separate you. Whoever this is, it could be a friendship too. This is about your future. Somebody's thinking, again, remember I said somebody may be traveling. Somebody is getting ready to travel. I don't know if they're going to be traveling far or traveling close, but when I see the world, I'm thinking long distance travel. I see that maybe they're going to be, but this is in the future. It's not right now. And if it's international travel, definitely ain't going to be now because everything's still closed. But definitely somebody's getting, so pay attention to this, because the number 2 in numerology is bringing a partnership together, or it's breaking it apart. I hate to say that. All right. So definitely hope. Now, if you're arguing, you guys, and you're thinking it's doomed, don't. I have a communication video out there. Watch it, because it teaches you never have to fight. And if you don't watch that and you don't see that, you never ever have to fight, ever. I never fight with somebody. I used to, but I don't anymore, because I realized it's all about communication and learning the skills of how to communicate, when to diffuse, when to step back, when to come back together, those kind of things. So watch the communication. It's called effective communication. If you're having fights and argument, it doesn't mean that something has to end. It means that somebody is not paying attention to somebody else's perspective, and vice versa. So you're creating a kerfuffle and a fight, rather than stopping as mature adults and listening to each other and saying, oh, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Don't agree it, but I understand it. Thank you for sharing that, and vice versa. So it's all about communication and about how to communicate in a better way. If you're having arguments and stuff like that, and you're trying to make a decision, that's probably a good start. But there's other places on YouTube. Just be really careful. John Gray has a beautiful, beautiful video on communication. He is very much about relationship coaches and stuff like that. So I will see you on the 18th, and hope everybody has a great week. And thank you, Vicki and Star, for popping in. I appreciate it. Take care.